Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome to another Mortgage Coach coaching call. Every Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific, we're here to deliver the mortgage industry's best weekly sales meeting. My name is Dave Savage. I'm the CEO of Mortgage Coach. I urge everybody on this call to connect with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. In fact, we're close to a big milestone on Facebook, so I hope everybody will like us today. So these calls, every week I'm bringing a leader, a speaker. A few weeks back, we had the #1 realtor in America, Ken DeLeon, sharing mortgage professionals, how can we be better partners in connecting with top realtors. If you did not see this, make sure you watch this video. It was a solid one. And as I said, we are just a few likes away from the 4,000 mark. So if you have not connected with us on Facebook, today's the day. Go on to our Facebook page. Make sure you like us so that every time we have a new video, we announce who's going to be on the coaching call, you're in the know. So hopefully we'll blow past this 4,000 mark within minutes. I did want to do a call out to last week's Thursday training call. We had Tony from the president of MAG on the call, who for many, many years he's been using RateWatch to be a leader to both home buyers and realtors. So we had a great leader from the industry come in and share how he's using RateWatch. We had Jacob share some technical information on how you can, if you're not using it, how you could be using it, how you could be integrating screenshots into emails. So it was just a great training call. I wanted to do a call out to that. You can watch that in our YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube, put in Mortgage Coach. Don't miss that training call. It was awesome. And don't miss this Thursday's call either. Again, really powerful content. Also wanted to do a shout out for a new upgrade and a new feature that we've added. So if you go to our support page, you'll notice in the bottom you can actually do a screencast and record what's happening on your screen. So a great new way for you to get quick and easy support from our team. Also want to do a reminder, every single day Dan Rawich is doing an update on the market and RateWatch. Don't miss his morning updates. And I want to do a big shout out to Bill Fisher, who's been creating commentary for years for Mortgage Coach. In fact, I used to use his commentary 20 years ago as a mortgage professional. He's a college professor, an economist. It just has a really, I think, awesome way of describing what's happening in the economy, how it's relevant to mortgage professionals and real estate people. Bill does a great job. And now there's a video in RateWatch. It's kind of like an audio book in a video format on Bill's weekly talking points. Don't miss this. And I'm going to have Bill for about 5 minutes next week share his vision on it. So before we get into the main show with Louise Thaxton, I'll bring Louise in just a minute formally. Want to bring in a great Mortgage Coach member, Linda McKenzie with Fairway. She's a branch manager in Colorado. It's been years. Linda and I, she was a guest on coaching calls many a times, pre-2007, pre-meltdown, but Linda and I have been talking a lot lately. She's been creating some amazing videos for realtors with Edge. And Linda, I just want you to come in and share the success you've been having for everybody on the call today.
Okay. Well, I'm back into all the coaching calls, and thanks to you, Dave, and really, really enjoying getting back to basics. I mean, I've been doing this for, 20 years, and every now and then you've got to kick yourself and say, get back to basics. So after a coaching call a couple weeks ago, I really was motivated. So I had lunch with a realtor in town that I've known forever and do a little bit of business with their office, but very well known. We're all friends, and was telling her about the Edge videos and some of the stuff I'm doing. And so I was invited to their office meeting, which was last week, and that's what got us started, Dave, because I going, hey, Dave, this was a big success. So basically went in, 9 of their 11 agents were there. The day before, I had sent them the open house flyer and the rent versus own scenario, and I was a little bit concerned because by the time I got there the next morning, none of the agents had viewed it. And, you know, the neat thing about these Edge videos is that you can tell, or even the reports, you can tell when somebody's viewed it. So I went into one of the agents' offices and said, hey, you haven't looked at that yet. Oh, yeah, I've been busy. So I had her pull it up. And then I had on my iPad an alert that I could share during the meeting. So it was great. The title for my presentation to them was Creating Client Experiences. So I started out with optimism, kind of talked about John Gordon, Darren Hardy, and how we need to just let Washington handle itself. We need to be down to business, and we need to be the optimistic people. So then I shared the Prudential second quarter consumer Outlook survey, gave them all a copy of it, and then highlighted certain things that I thought pertained to them, and it really keyed into the millennials. And then I asked him, how do you set yourself apart from others? Now, this office has been in Glenwood for 25 years, so they're a brand, but they're not wowing. I mean, they're one of the largest offices, I would say, and do most of the business, but it was pretty neat the way they were almost like sponges. I told them about the Ken De Leon interview, sent them a link to it because they were touring that day, so they couldn't get in. Asked them about providing value, and told them basically, you know, find out what your consumer wants and give it to them. And then gave them a little more information about changes in our business, and then went into the mortgage coach analysis program and showed them the rent versus own. They loved it. I had taken my iPad, so sent that around. Showed them the open house flyers that we could co-brand. Showed them what the value was for the customer, and how they, when they made some changes to really boost their brand, how they could measure it with mortgage coach through those alerts. So, you know, when you're doing something new marketing-wise, you want to be able to measure and make sure you're getting through. So, I mean, there we have it with them. My meeting probably lasted 40 minutes, but this is where I really got excited. So the meeting started at 9. At 11:13, I had a message from the brand new agent in the office. It was great to meet you this morning. Thank you for all the info. As a new agent, I love to see the options out there for me to separate myself and show value to my clients. Here's to our positive attitude and future relationships.
Nice.
What more could you have? Another agent that I work with regularly, hi Linda, I'm going to do an open house this weekend. Please see the attached MLS. I'm working on a price reduction. Should know this afternoon. Thanks for all the good information this morning. As always, you're a wealth of information. Wow, that was at 11:17. And then the broker owner, 10 minutes later, thank you for coming this morning. Good information. Do you have a flyer via email, or maybe you could create just a short note that talks about the upcoming changes? Would love to send that out to all my folks that are on the fence right now. Also wanting to do a postcard mail out to the Glenwood Springs zip code, and would like to target short sale foreclosure, first-time home buyers, yada yada. I was thinking we could, picture something with both our contact information and some details. Any thoughts? I mean, what more can you say on that type of result? And then I also prepared another 3 open house flyers for open houses they were having that weekend. So what more do you want to know? Because that had me flying.
Well, that's awesome. So just kind of breaking down some of the things that you did. So you did pass around your iPad with the mobile experience. Did they have any impressions? You know, how did they respond to that?
It was the wow. I mean, they're going, oh, wow, look at that. Oh, and I mean, you just have to show it to them and then follow up. I think you really almost need to do a class for them. And keep calling and go back. I mean, they are slow learners, and probably, you know, 5 times the message they'll be there. But they all took those open house flyers, and they all had them electronically. I did respond to the new agent in the office, because she doesn't have many listings, said, hey, here's a suggestion. Why don't you take the link to that open house flyer for what your other agents are doing this weekend and send them to people you know. You'll know when they open it. So I think she was going to do that too. I mean, I provided her the link.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic, and thank you for coming in and sharing this success story. So I hope takeaway for everybody, and if you didn't watch the Wow Selling video I created in the Rate Watch TV platform last week, but it's becoming more clear all the time to me as I hear these success stories that when you're able to teach, share this experience. I love how you centered the whole call around the customer experience. Well, folks, I mean, the realtor experience is important, and one of the quickest and easiest ways for you to deliver something that's really different, really unique, and it is obviously valuable is when they see in their hands an iPhone, an iPad, an Android device, that mobile experience, that mortgage mobile experience, it's unique, it's different, it's valuable. It's a great way to differentiate yourself. And then imagine all of you as Mortgage Coach members, if you create a video on the front of that, you're able to constantly remind them how you're unique and valuable. So Linda, this is a video she created, and by the way, on Facebook, we've put one of her experiences up there. So in the comments section of the post for today, you can watch one of Linda's Mortgage Coach Edge experiences and see for yourself. If you were a realtor, if you were a home buyer, would this be something you'd want? Would this provide a more confident mortgage decision? If you were a realtor, would you want your home buyers getting something like this? I think the answer is yes. I hope everybody will take action on it. Linda, before I bring Louise into the conversation, any last words you want to say to all the Mortgage Coach peers? And I think we probably have a lot of great Fairway loan officers on the call. Any last words?
Yeah, I would say this: realize that realtors and your clients are hungry for information, and I like our theme kind of this year is be the beacon. So provide that information and provide it in a way that Joe Blow down the street is not doing, and that's through a Mortgage Coach presentation, and the video is easy.
Right. Oh, by the way, we still have I wanted to bring Louise in by 9:15, that whole easy piece. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are just intimidated with the video piece. They either one, don't like the way they look on the video, or they're just too worried about getting it perfect. I mean, I know I've been evangelizing to you for a long time to create these videos, and it went on deaf ear for a period of time. But tell a little bit about you're creating these videos now. How did you get over the hump to where you weren't doing it to now where you're doing it?
Well, I pretty much quit overthinking it. So I just dove in, cut, do it again, kind of laughed at myself, and then when it was done, I sent you the video, and then you were right on it, called me back, got it, and just took notes and went back and got it down to simple. You open it up, you tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you summarize it, and you have a call to action. So it's easy. Get out of your own way. You can't change the way you look much right now, by now, and go with it, because whatever you're doing is better than your competition is doing.
Ooh, I like that. Get over yourself, and just by doing this, it's better than what your competition is doing. So anyways, congratulations on all the value that you're creating in your local market. I look forward to more success stories. Please keep them coming. And please stay on this call. I'm going to bring Louise in, and feel free to co-host the next 45 minutes with me.
Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you. So, now time for when we market this, what we put on Facebook, what we emailed out, it's all about how can we as mortgage professionals help the military home buyer. So you're going to have content around that. Who better than Louise Thaxton? Louise, I would say you need no introduction, but it has been a while since you've been on a coaching call, and it's going to be great to see you at Mastery next week. It's going to be an awesome surprise that we have for everybody. Remember, it is a surprise, so don't steal any thunder from that. But Louise, welcome to the call.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Honored to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great call. So before I actually bring you into the conversation, you share some of the ideas you have, I do want to do a quick poll on, get a little pulse check from everybody. How often do you do VA loans? Is it monthly, sometimes, annually, never? Please answer this quickly, and everybody who's on my coaching calls knows that until we get to 70%, I don't move on. So let's get some answers. Let's get them quick so we can bring Louise into the conversation. So by the way, Louise, any guesses on how everybody's going to answer this question?
Well, I hope it's monthly.
Right on,
I'm going to think positive and say monthly.
All right. So we're at 58%. Come on, everybody. I know it's early, but let's push it out. Let's get to 70%. So here we go, Louise. The results are in. 30% said monthly, 50% said sometimes, 10% said annually, and 11% of the people on this call today said never. Well, so hopefully we're going to move the needle on that today.
We are.
All right. So Louise, I want to bring you into the conversation. While many of the folks on this call know your story, they've heard you speak at large industry events over the years. You've been a guest here in the community many times. If you don't mind, just tell your story, just a minute or two, and then we can get into the kind of the net of what we want to share today.
Well, I've been in the business, if you count that I was a closer and I actually prepared the mortgages on the other side, over 30 years. In the mortgage actually originating for 16, and then wanted out of it in '05, but because of Hurricane Rita that came through, my husband said, no, girlfriend, you need to get in the business. And so I drove to a military town and literally not knowing how to spell VA, created a brand that I would serve the military and turned my business around from 74 units in 2005 to 280 units in 2006. Just strictly on building a brand as someone who serves those who serve.
Nice. And what's your production levels today? How many loans do you close them typically, monthly, annually?
For the last 3 years, I've averaged a loan a day, 365 to 370 per year. So that's about it. Over half are VA. So not 100% of VA, but 360 or 370, I'm going to close 160 or 170 VAs.
Wow. So folks, we're talking to this is not a top producing loan officer. This is a iconically successful loan officer that knows how to scale a business, knows how to deliver on promises consistently, systematically. We could focus the call on Louise's, her team, how she executes that kind of volume on a consistent basis. That's not really the the tone of the call, although I will try to get some of those takeaways throughout the call, and we'll learn from her in that way. But the spirit of this call is how do you go about being a leader to military folks? So if you're in a market where you have that, how can you do that better? Possibly why you should. So some thoughts about encouragement that the military, they need our leadership and support. I mean, we're mortgage coach loan officers on this call. That means we have tools and insight that can help people make better financial decisions. So, let's bring it to the heroes of our country and help them make better decisions. That's hopefully my outcome. So, Louise, as always, I mean, I'm a super fan. You've become a great personal friend over the years, and we're doing a really neat project together that will be a pretty big surprise at Sales Mastery, but we'll save that for Sales Mastery next week. By the way, folks, if you are going to Sales Mastery next week, be paying attention to the Mortgage Coach Facebook page. Make sure you come up and introduce yourself to me and come say hi, because I want to make sure everybody who's a Mortgage Coach friend and member, I personally connect with. So please, come out and say hi. So Louise, I know you have planned some slides to share some of your vision on why and how people can be leaders to the military in their local marketplaces. I have given you the desktop to share. Why don't you share some ideas? And you and I will have a conversation around what you're doing and how you're doing it. And everybody, I will be keeping an eye on the questions that come into the GoToMeeting, and I'll try to bring those in, and we may have time for Q&A at the end, and we may not, but we'll try to get to what you want. Go ahead, Louise.
If I get off base, you just direct me back, Dave, and just want to say thank you for serving the military. You are a great supporter of our men and women who serve, and you said it well. You and I have become good friends over the past several years, and I would love for everyone to like me and follow me on Twitter and like me, and I've got Louise Thaxton, where I post a lot of things about the military and Team Thaxton Suits and Boots. And feel free to share those things, also to retweet, because we are constantly posting military articles, things of information that if you have military clients or realtors who focus on the military, you could share with them. This is just, as you listen to the call, it'd be good for you to write down some action items. What are you going to do and by when, and some disciplines that you're going to implement into your life, and when are you going to start. I became a watchdog, and that's what happened to me when I went into that military town. Is I became a watchdog. I became determined that I would stand between the warrior and the wolves. The military are a very targeted population, and often they are the victim of scams, unscrupulous business people. So I joined a tribe. You like that Rottweiler picture there? That's
I like that.
Yep, I did, and I joined a tribe of people in this community that were watchdogs for the military. There's a huge opportunity to serve. Now, obviously, we saw the numbers. I would love to do a follow-up call in about 2 months or maybe even the first of next year and see if those numbers change. This is the fact. 8% of Americans qualify for a 100% VA loan. Now, everyone's screaming for a 100% product. We have it. And if you think of your town and you think 8% of the Americans, and it could be more, you could be living in an area where there's 10% are veterans or active duty. There's 23.5 million living veterans and 1.4 million active duty military. So there is opportunity. And the difference between military families is they relocate every 2 to 3 years. And it's very important that you know the challenges, the needs that they have so that you can serve them when they move into a military market. The military has understood this. We need to get it, that the military family well-being is huge. When a soldier is going to Afghanistan, he wants to know that his family is in a safe and secure spot. It helps them, it helps morale. If they are thousands of miles away across the waters, to know that their family is in a secure place. Housing is key for that. A profile of the military family is 70% are married compared to 56% civilian. 44% include children. The advantage is they've got stable income, housing support for active duty, so they have a basic allowance for housing that they use, inflation-protected pensions, and they're going to purchase sooner. They are not waiting for the market to drop or anything on the interest rates. What they need is a house right now because they've gone into an area. So the bottom line is it's a huge market of active duty, retired, reserves, guard, and veterans out there. A lot of times it's just that reticular activator. I hope when people listen to this call, all of a sudden, a lot of times when I give boot camps within my company, that it's all of a sudden someone will email me and say, you know, I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden I'm doing more VA loans. You've changed your focus. The military do not have the luxury of time because they move every 2 to 3 years. If they stay in the military for 20 years, that could mean 10-plus moves. And so because of that, there's an opportunity for you. Now, on capturing market share, Vernon is the parish that I went into in 2005, and if I pulled a market share in 2006, I was not ranked. There was another company, and they do a pretty good job. That's what I'm going to say about my competitor. They do a pretty good job. They had a 35% market share. Well, today I have 18%, and I'm still ranked number 2. But they're right. They have a 19% market share, and I have an 18% market share. So that just because some other company, your competitor, has a market share does not mean it has to stay that way. In Bossier City, which is what I did is I actually went north 2 hours to an Air Force town, Bossier City, Louisiana, home of Barksdale Air Force Base. I went up there, and in 2007 I was not ranked for market share. But today I have 11% market share, and I have #1 market share, with USAA being #2, and they have 10% market share. So there again, you can take these strategies, and if you're wanting to, you know, Dave, there are loan officers, maybe branch managers that are wondering, what am I going to do with the economy going the way it is? You know, my business is down. I'm not sure which way to go. What I am telling you is you can do this. Anyone can do exactly what I did. That you just got to get your head down, determined to do the work. Here's an assignment for everyone to write it down. Where is there a military base within 2 hours of you? Formerly I would ask the question, is there a military base close to you? And close is a relative term. I drive 35 minutes to one of my offices, and then I drive 2 hours to another. That's where I'm sitting today, 2 hours from my home. And I've done this for several years. 1 or 2 times a week, I'm going to come to to Shreveport and Bossier City. So I call close 2 hours. And the reason I call close 2 hours is that you can leave your home by 7 or 7:30, be to that town by 9 or 9:30. You can work the market. You can become friends with realtors. You can get out there and form relationships, and you can leave by 3 or 4 and be home by 5 or 6. So if there is there a military base within 2 hours of you? And then find out who is closing VA loans in that market. Now, there is a market share report that you can order. Now, for years, I ordered that market share report because I wanted to know who my competitors were. I wanted to know who to crush. I needed to know. And so I identified who was closing VA loans. And there's a source. Now, we have since put this as an in-house thing, but if any of your mortgage coach users want that source, I can definitely give it to them. It's not like I get any money out of it. It's just a third-party source, and I would order a market share report.
Louise?
Yes.
Hey, I just had to jump in. I mean, that was just too priceless. I hope everybody heard Louise say, I needed to know who I could crush. I mean, if that is not the heart of a competitor, everybody, and if that is not, I mean, what a takeaway to hear her, I'm going to go in, I'm going to win, who do I need to crush? So I just hope everybody heard that, or heard what I heard. That was awesome. And then Louise, if you could, we've had a number of questions asking for, you know, the deck. Are you going to be willing to share this deck?
Sure.
We can put it.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we'll put some of these links that you guys are requesting in questions and a link to the deck in the comment section of our Facebook page. Remember, guys, got to get past 4,000. So let's make sure, if you don't already like us, And Louise, keep going. This is priceless. I've already written down a number of takeaways. You're on a roll.
Well, just to give you an idea, when I went into that military market in 2005, the end of 2005, was October of 2005 because Katrina was in September, I was told by several people, we don't need another mortgage lender, we have one. And they had a big sign, they had been there for 50 years, and I said, so what? I mean, who cares? They've been here 50 years, I'm here to stay. So you don't be intimidated. There's been several people that name a big bank, and I don't want to throw around names. They go, well, they get all the market share. Well, you know what? There again, find out who's closing, and then find out what is their reputation. You can do this by, you know, if you go to title companies, take a title rep to lunch and just say, you know, I see on this market share report that ABC Mortgage is closing like the market share. They're closing like 20% of your VAs. How are they doing? And the title company will say, oh, man, they're awesome. Or they will say, well, they suck, but there's no one else to use. Then you get with the agents. So find out what they're doing wrong. Find out what they're doing right. If they're doing something right, do it better. If they're doing something wrong, you fix it and you do it a better way. So that in this presentation, I want to talk about the why, the how, and the what of serving, because when you get all three, the why, the how, and what, that's when you're going to build trust. The why is your beliefs, and you've got to talk about your why. And your hows are the actions that you take to realize that belief, and then the what is the results of those actions. In other words, you prove it by what you do. Now, you start with why, and that's my why was I needed to make a difference for my family. I needed to make a living. I went south, but the first time I sat across from a soldier, my why went deeper, and I realized that I could make a difference and make a living at the same time. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. When you don't communicate your why, there are military clients that they will experience uncertainty. They're going to be doubtful of you, especially if you're new. Like, why should I trust you? When you listen to their stories, and there's so many times we don't listen, Dave, we are in a time where we have been fighting a war. We're in a wartime, and never has so long a conflict been fought by such a small percentage of Americans. So when you listen to their stories, be willing to listen, truly listen to what they're telling you, not just what's in their bank account, not just how long they've been in the Army or the Navy. Listen to their stories. Be open to listen to their stories. And what you're going to hear is a higher rate of divorce, a higher rate of unemployment, traumatic brain injury. Young soldier in my office, I walk out, I shake his hand. I say, thank you for serving. How long have you been in the Army? He says, 9 years. And I said, how many deployments? And he says, 5. I said, wow, are you married? And he said, not now. Now that's a story. That's a story. And so when you're close to these, get close to these men and women who serve, you see these repeated deployments, the higher rate of suicide. While we are having this call, Dave, there will be a veteran or active duty military person take their own life. There's one approximately every hour. The post-traumatic stress disorder is a huge, we've labeled it now. It's always been there from Vietnam. There's PTSD from World War II, from Korean War, from the Vietnam War, from the Gulf War, but we've labeled it now. We've identified it. But knowing this, knowing that the men and women that you serve, there's a higher rate of homelessness, which seems wrong to me, of course, the depression and the invisible wounds of war. This all goes to, why do you want to serve? This is one of my clients. When they tell you the battles that they fought. Now, I did this young man a home, and he gave me a little testimony. And what he said in the testimony, he wanted Americans to know that soldiers do appreciate when you appreciate them. They wrote a book about the war he fought, The Outpost, The Untold Story of American Valor. Now, it's interesting. He comes in my office. He sees books sitting all around. He sees boots, which we'll go into that later. So he knows this woman's different. This is not our offices are different. We've got war books sitting around. It is very obvious to our clients when they walk in our why. We've read their books. We know their stories. So he tells us the story, which was later written about by Jake Tapper. And earlier this year, there were 2 Medal of Honors given to 2 young men, one just within the last 6 or 8 weeks. But this is unprecedented. In fact, it hadn't been done in the last 20 years. 2 Medal of Honors for the same battle. It was the Battle of Cop Keating, and this is the book they wrote, and this is a man that I'm taking his application. Do you think it's important to listen to their stories? And you can't do that if you don't read the books. And part of what we do is not only do I read the books, but my team has to read the books. When I've had different people that work for me, they go, well, I don't read. I say, well, you have to read Outlaw Platoon. That's part of being part of my team. You have to read Outlaw Platoon. And I guess I need to say right here, because I haven't said it, I'm just the leader. It's my team that does the work. They're I am nothing without my team. And I have just been blessed with an amazing team. But there's few things that I won't give on. So reading the books is one of those things, and so that's part of it. You have to read Outlaw Platoon. And one particular person, they said, I don't read. And I said, well, they go, well, I just don't read. And I go, well, then listen. They go, well, I really don't like to listen. And I said, well, that's fine. And I said, now, what do you want to be your last day with me? Because you're going to read the book. Are you going to listen to the book? You're not going to serve our men and women unless you know what it is why you're serving. And so this is, as they get this slide deck, it'll be good for them to print it out. And what are some reasons that you want to work with military clients, or you work with military clients? What is your why? And some examples are a call to serve. I feel like, and as I talk to soldiers, airmen, different ones, you'll say, well, why did you join the Army? And many of them joined because of 9/11. You will hear that over and over and over again, is after 9/11 I signed. Or you will hear, well, my mother or father, they served in the military, my grandfather. Some people live in a military community, and so it's just natural being around, and then others just want to give back. For me, it was a calling, just like joining the military. I truly felt a call to serve. Much like joining the military, I felt this this draw that it was my duty. I should do this to protect them. I should become a watchdog. And for me, it was just like once I joined up, once I signed up that this is what I was going to do, it was my way to give back. Part of developing your why is earning the trust and then communicating to your military clients that you share the same values and beliefs that they do, that you understand them if you've read the books. Now, I haven't been to Afghanistan, but I've read a lot of books, and that's as close as I can get. So our why is to make a difference in the lives of the people we serve. But that's in our everyday actions. Because, you know, you can have this great philosophy, or a lot of companies have a mission statement, but how does that play out? And we put our boots on every Friday. We wear red on Friday because that's to remember everyone deployed. If you follow me on Facebook, you're going to see I'm posting things on Friday. Are you wearing red? Do you have your boots on? It's like waving a flag. It's like being a patriot. While we're all comfortable and whining because we don't get our hamburger order in time, there's men and women who are risking their life. And so it's in our everyday action that we are remembering them. But the why is just the belief. The hows are the actions, and the whats are the results. Now, the what, I mean, after I get through this second slide, I'll stop, Dave, and just talk about it. But we all do the same thing: mortgages, home loans. That's our what. So if you look at a core and the center is the why, the next ring is the how, but the outer ring is the what. And so we don't just do mortgages or home loans. The way our what, how we do that is we give a military discount, we do a 10-day close plan, we do whatever it takes, and we go the extra mile. Now, the 10-day close plan is actually a savings to them. It saves them money and time. But even a 10-day close, when I say go the extra mile and do whatever it takes, just the closing last week is an example. We were doing a 10-day, we were doing a fast close. The man was a soldier. He was coming in with his wife and his 5 children, Dave, 5. And I believe the oldest one was 11. That has to be like, oh, I mean, just the thought of it. And they're driving in. They're going to close at 2 o'clock. They had a U-Haul behind them. They were going to unload their beds in the house and sleep in that house. However, they're on the way, and the title company calls and says, it was the attorney's office at that particular one, and says, we cannot close this afternoon. We cannot close until tomorrow. Now, the 2 realtors are doing a battle on whose fault it is. Whose fault is it? Well, you chose that attorney's office, or you did this, and they're busy arguing. And one of my team comes to me and says, we've got a problem. I said, no, this is not a problem. Now, if one of my kids is in Afghanistan and they're under attack, that's a problem. This is an easy fix. Go down to, I told them what the hotel to go to. I said, take my American Express, go find out if they've got a suite that's got a baby bed, because they had a baby bed. I said, go down there, pay for their room for tonight, book a suite so they can have their kids all in these 2 rooms, get a baby bed, and then go to the grocery store, go to Walmart, get a bunch of snacks, get everything you think all these kids would eat, have it in the room for them. When they get here, we're going to have a place for them. We'll close tomorrow. Now, the realtors are still arguing, fighting over whose fault it is that we can't close. In the meantime, my team, we're going to go the extra mile and do whatever it takes to make them comfortable until we can close. So what will you do? What will you do that's going to set you apart from the rest? You can sit there and say, well, it's not my fault, or you can step up to the plate and just do whatever it takes. Any comments, Dave?
Well, I mean, I think it makes me think of something I learned very young in life. You know, it's not it's not the problems that happen to us, it's how we respond. And I think that's just it's something that, I think everybody knows it, but not everybody executes around that each and every day and all the time. And, for me, this has been a pretty, I knew it was going to be a great call. It's deep, it's powerful, there's tremendous wisdom. And then, just that in itself, in the mortgage business, there's two kinds of loans. Loans with problems and loans with solved problems.
Right.
And it sounds like you've got a really deep why that you execute around every day as a team. And it sounds like you've got some, just the way you handle it is pretty amazing. I hope people are paying close attention, taking notes, but also just getting a heart-level connection with the way you do business. I think it's really powerful. Just keep rolling.
Well, the center, of course, we talked about our why, and then our what, which is mortgages, but our how is what makes the difference. It's how you do it. Now, we operate with a METL, M-E-T-L, which is a military term. It's a mission essential task list, which everybody operates off a checklist. And that way, we share our checklist with our military of what they need to give us. They're very familiar with checklists, so this is a good thing. It makes them very comfortable. We have a culture of serving the military. That means volunteering. So when I volunteer, it's not, they know I'm volunteering, but I'm volunteering my team. So it's nothing for us to, have to get together and volunteer for a military event. There is an accountability to excellence. So the team is held accountable with checklists and scorecards for them. So every one of my teammates that most of my team is licensed, so if one of my loan officer assistants takes a VA loan, they are scored. They are given a score on how they handle that VA loan. There's a checklist they have to follow. There's timelines that you have to comply with. Because if you're going to close quickly, then you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to make it happen, very fast. A major walked in my office at 4 o'clock. He wants an 8-day close. I do the numbers, and 8 days is actually like the next Friday. And I said, we can do that. It all works. And I always qualified if we can get the appraisal. But in this small community, appraisals, VA appraisals are usually not an issue. And he says, well, we're tired. And I said, well, Major, you can't leave. And he says, well, no, my wife, she was pregnant. They had 2 wild kids, wild. And when I say wild, they were wild. They were on top of the ceiling. It was him, his 2 kids, there was a dog somewhere, and his pregnant wife. And and I said, if you want to close in 8 days, you have to stay here. And he said, my wife has a headache. And I said, she needs to take some medicine. But you need to stay here. If you want to close, Major, you need to consider that I am your commanding officer. And I am telling you, stay here and get me what you need. This was at 4 o'clock, and at 7 o'clock they left. And 8 days later, we closed their loan. But there again, it was me just being upfront with him and telling him this is what we have to do. And actually, in the military, they're very accustomed to that. So this is like, oh, wow, I didn't know when I was going to get a mortgage I was going to feel like I was like back at the base. But you take charge of the situation, and you tell them, this is what I need, and I need it right now. Now, the good news about the military is because a lot of their business is done online, it's usually easy to gather most of their stuff, most of their information, because most of it's online. And so when you have a plan for how you're going to pre-qualify the clients, managing client expectations is huge, because I cannot tell him that I'm going to close in 8 days if he will not give me his financial information right now. And then, of course, after I do that, the rest of the work's done by my team, but each one of them have their responsibilities. I have a huge team, but that's what it takes to close fast. And do you have a plan for what you're going to do for closing, for post-closing? And when you study the books, Sean's book, one of the things he says is that what is it that remains in their souls when they return? How can we help? When we study the books, when we know that it's not just about doing it so we can make 100 on a scorecard, even though all of my team wants to make it's peer pressure among them, but it is about operating with excellence, with accountability. It is expected when we turn in a file that it's a one-touch file. That's how we do it so fast, but it's all got to be done right up first. The accountability to the how this is the hardest part, is the discipline to never veer from the cause. In other words, we have to stay on, holding each other accountable to building a team. And if the loan officers out there, the branch managers, building a team that's accountable to excellence. And how are you going to do that? It's you can say, I operate with excellence. Well, how do you do that? Well, this is what I do. This is the checklist I follow. This is what I gather from the clients. This is the money that I'm going to charge. I love Linda saying that find out what your clients want and give it to them. What military clients want is a fast close if they're PCSing into town. They want a mortgage note that is, of course, they don't want a high interest rate, but they're not looking at its rate as much as they're doing, will it match my BAH, my basic allowance for housing, doesn't go over that, and can I get in this house quick, and can you keep the drama out of it? Now, Louisiana has more reality shows than any other state in the United States of America. But the last thing we want is a reality show for our closing. We do not want drama. So our house is really, you can talk about you care about the military, but you can bring all kind of drama into it. You can drag them through the mud. You can make the most horrific closing in the world. You see, your house, how you do it, are really what brings your cause to life. And everything you say and everything you do proves that you love the military. They have core values of honor, integrity, courage, selfless service, loyalty. See, these are built in to their, this is what they live. And so when they come in, do they see those same things with you of structure, standardization, discipline? See, a lot of times loan officers, and I know this because I'm a loan officer, we're just hitting the high spots. We're into sales. But the truth is, when you're dealing with military, they're very accustomed to structure, to standardization, to discipline. They're the easiest clients in the world to understand this is a government loan. We need all this documentation. You understand the government. You have to dot every I and you have to cross every T. You show them respect. I would never talk to anyone in the military without saying, yes, sir, no, ma'am. Objective-oriented. Our objective is to close the sale. That's our objective. And that's the mission. That's where we're going. And so when you have interactions with military clients, these are the things that you build into your team, not just into you. And you're authentic with it. In other words, it's not fake. It's not copied. It's truly at the heart of who you are. And, just like with me, when I went to that military town, Dave, to begin with, I didn't have a heart to serve the military. It just, much like if you hear Sean Parnell waking up he was a college student, waking up and seeing the towers fall, there's a time when you realize, I have to serve my country in some way. And so for Sean, it was joining the Army. For me, it was becoming a military mortgage specialist, just working and doing my best. So the why is your belief, your hows are your actions, and the what's are the results. And this is what it will build trust, is when all three of those things are in balance. And it's going to emerge when your client realizes that you are driven by things other than your own self-gain. When they know it, they sense it, they can feel it in how you do things. And we need boots on the ground. Like I said, Dave, I hope that 2 or 3 months from now, we can do another call and we can do a poll, and people are saying, you know what, I'm doing one a month now. Boots on the ground is used to convey that military success can only be achieved when there is a direct physical presence of troops in a conflict area. That is what we need. We need boots on the ground. Now, I will tell you this, it's real easy to state your why, but living it out, working it out can be tough, because you're going to have higher standards, you're going to have discipline, accountability. We each month, at the beginning of the next month, we go over with every LOA on every file that we have closed and said, did this close timely? Did this close without any drama? Did you follow the checklist? Did we follow the timeline? Everything is graded, held accountable, and a lot of it is just do the work. And if it were easy, everybody would do it. How many of the people attending are going to take this and run with it, Dave? I don't know. because if it were easy, everyone would do it. Study, teach, volunteer, join, give, and grow. Join your local Chamber of Commerce, or if you're driving 2 hours away, join that Chamber of Commerce, and most military towns have something, it can be named different, Military Affairs Committee or Military Affairs Commission. It is a subcommittee of the Chamber of Commerce. You join that. That is where the military communities bring in the military. So there's some of the members are military, some are the business community, and they share concerns and they work on projects. A lot of what you do will be volunteer. A lot of what you do, you're giving. A lot of what you do, you're growing your team. But that's a good start. Just find it, locate a military town, drive there, join the Chamber of Commerce, join the Military Affairs Committee, get your boots on the ground. And I'm just going to share this, that someone said to me, you know, when was I going to retire? I said, retire from what? They said, retire from work. And I said, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. This is not work for me. When you're involved in something that is it's a cause that's bigger than me, Dave. It's bigger than you. Serving our military is bigger than any of us, and with that comes passion and a conviction of an idea that's bigger than us to give back to those who serve. And when that belief, just like that's what I'm doing today, when it's amplified, when it's raised up there, and Dave, you do a beautiful job of this and all the giving back that you do in your community and with the mortgage community, people raise their hands and say, I want to help. I want to do something. So the question is, are you ready to join the tribe? The warrior ethos, I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. And it's time.
I mean, standing ovation.
Yeah.
I mean, I am, you know, blown away, Louise. I can't tell you how appreciative I am for you to come into our community, share, I mean, just a really heartfelt message and a tremendous amount of wisdom and value. I just want you to know I'm really grateful for it. And that was an awesome presentation.
Well,
Linda, I had a feeling.
It was fire hose, but I wanted to get it out there, and then we can share the links, and then they can.
Yeah, no problem. Linda, I could tell you were getting ready to say something.
Oh, I was. You know, Louise speaks from the heart. She knows her why. She communicates what's needed so that she can accomplish the task at hand. She holds her team accountable, holds herself accountable. That helps build trust, and wow.
Yeah, no, so many great takeaways. Well, the good news is, everybody, is this is recorded. This will be available in our YouTube channel within a couple hours. This is something you can watch and listen to again. Louise has been kind enough to give us this presentation, so there'll be a link to it in our Facebook page. Louise, are there any of those checklists that you wouldn't mind making available to the mortgage coach community?
Oh, let me see what I can share. We do have some that probably are pretty generic. You know, some are
well, I'll leave that. I did get a lot of questions about that, so I'll leave that in your hands.
Okay.
Which you're willing to share and which you're not. Totally,
okay.
No pressure. I hope as mortgage coach members you did get a takeaway when she talked about what's important to the military is that they're moving every 3 years. So I want to bring that into mortgage coach land, and Louise, anything you want to add to it is while when they look at a mortgage, they're not looking at it like everybody else. You know, they're more concerned, and I learned this from you, Louise, years ago, that you're showing them what's your equity going to be in 2 years, in 3 years, so that they're not going to be landlocked. So when you're doing a total cost, it's, hey, should you use your FHA or VA benefits or a conventional? So you're doing different types of scenarios. What advice do you give to all the mortgage coach members that are on this call? What are the types of ways that they should be using the total cost? Any feedback you can provide on that?
Well, number one, I would never recommend an origination fee. because that if they can go in at par, the closing costs need to be as low as possible. So if also to work out with your, and I know everyone works for different companies, work out some way that you can close quickly. One of the sales that I have is comparing what I'm doing, the interest rate I have, with a company whose interest rate is a quarter lower than mine, but it takes them 35 longer days to close. Well, when you've got a military family, they're going to have to stay in a hotel and pay $85 or $90 a night for 35 extra days. That is a cost that is going to get added to their mortgage, basically, or come out of their pocket. So I can close them quickly, get them in a home, and it saves them time, energy, money, emotional energy. So when you're sharing an analysis, show them that point, but show them that if they're selling this house in 2 years, what they need to do is get in to where they're not buying down their rates. They're getting it. It doesn't really. It's not going to affect them that much if their rate is a quarter, 3/8, even higher, but get in for as low a closing cost. Keep their money in their pocket because they're going to need it in a couple of years. And then also you can show them how they can rent that home, because if they're in a military town, a lot of times, as one soldier told me one time, I'm going to retire rich from the military. I said, really? How are you going to do that? He said he had 5 rent homes. Everywhere he PCS, he bought a rent home, and he rented. So when he left it, he would rent it. And so a lot of times that's a huge rental market in a military town.
Now, what do you say, I saw some questions where some loan officers that were in military markets and a lot of military was renting instead of owning. You know, what role do you play in trying to create the demand to buy the home versus rent the home? Any wisdom or perspective that you have on that?
Sure, that's a huge question. So they get a basic allowance for housing, and that is given to them. So let's just say someone making $48,000, they're going to get around $1,200. If they stay on base in base housing, they're going to take that entire amount of money. They're going to take the $1,200. If you buy a home and you can get a monthly note, and you can in our area if you buy a $150,000 to $175,000 home, and that's our average sales price is $175,000. You can get a note, that a monthly note that's lower than that. They can pocket the difference or save the difference. So it's really, they're going to make money to buy a home. And then because it is a military market, houses are constantly being flipped and sold. So it's usually not an issue to get that house sold. If you just don't want to go in upside down, you don't want to go in paying points and being out of pocket with closing costs, it's good for everybody to have a military discount. If you're in a military town, work it out with your manager or your company to give a military discount. That kind of shows your patriotism too.
Again, awesome call. And for all you Mortgage Coach members, you know, help every military soldier make an informed, confident decision with a Mortgage Coach experience. We're here to help you. This Thursday, we're going to focus the entire call. Well, there will be other questions that come up, so there will be other topics, but we will have a strong focus around VA loans. Also want to remind you that if you just go to our website, click on support, put in VA loans, there's a lot of videos and information. So don't miss this Thursday, 9 o'clock Pacific. We're going to be here to provide some leadership, make sure you understand how to do the different scenarios that are most common. Also, make sure that if you're out there trying to earn that business and you're working with the realtors that are the most successful in that market, have the most relevant scenarios on your iPhone, your iPad, your Android device, and show them how you're delivering advice that's unique and different than all the other, as Louise put it, people that she's going to crush. You know, show them how your advice is unique, different, and better. So it's been an awesome call. I'm grateful to both of you for taking time to deliver value on today's call. Any parting comments before we wrap it up?
Linda, you did a great job. I love what you said. It totally ties into the military theme also.
And Louise, your passion shows. So I would challenge everybody, go out there and do your best today, make a difference, try that video. You can do it. Dave's just waiting to critique it, so go for it.
Right on. Well, it's been an awesome call. I'm going to go ahead and put up a poll. Let us know what you thought of today's call. And if you could click on that real quick, let us know what you thought of today's call. Thank you both for all the wisdom, all the value. It's really been a very special call. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Dave.